Poindexter, Oregon's 3rd, checking in after what I would say is an indefensible ruling by the Ninth Circuit that opens the door to National Guard troops being deployed in our peaceful city. Let's just be clear. Portland is not lawless. We have been extraordinary in our resistance to Donald Trump's fairy tale about our city. We have remained peaceful, persistent, and clear that we do not bend the knee to Donald Trump and his wannabe kingmanship, and we will continue to be so. This ruling must be challenged, and we must remain steadfast in our peaceful resistance to Donald Trump, the tyranny he is trying to take onto our cities and across this country, and what I would say is an extraordinarily dangerous precedent by militarizing our city and moving towards a dictatorship. We will be united. We will remain peaceful. I was just in DC.
All right. Excuse me for having the volume turned down. Had some update issues and whatnot this morning. That's why we're not dual streaming. We are single streaming. But let me tell you what's going on over here. Last night, ended up coming across some information that was being put out by several people on the ground over inside of Portland, Oregon. One, this lady, if you couldn't hear, look, here's the context. She is upset that their vacation, or excuse me, their stay order for the National Guard got approved. That's what she's upset about. That I don't even care. I could care less about how upset any Oregon representative is right now. There's much bigger issues that are taking place over inside of Portland that we're going to talk about today. And the question is whether or not Portland police are like in bed with Antifa. Now, there is numerous videos that ended up coming out over the last 24 hours. And the incident that we're about to break down, I'm going to show you the short version. I'm going to give you the abridged version of what we're going to talk about today. And then I'm going to show you all of the crap that goes into this. Because what you're about to witness right over here, this is like, dude, this is a long time into the incident, but this is the abridged version. These people here that are hiding behind the sign, along with some other ones, are shining extremely bright lights at the ICE agents that are standing on the roof of the Portland Police ICE facility. Directly across the street, you can see Portland PD. I want you guys to watch what happens.
We're behind Portland Police. Oh my God.
They're literally hiding PD.
They run over across the street and they're hiding behind Portland police, who literally do nothing about it. Eventually, feds go up and talk to them. This is a brief excerpt of something that the protests were saying about Portland police and literally saying that Portland police help. You guys are going to see all these clips here in a little bit, but I got to give you context for what it is that's got me so livid.
There's Portland police out here today, genuinely here to help the other side.
Especially actual city officials.
He said to that word.
There you go, talking about especially the city officials. Portland police are helping them. Council chambers for the city of Portland ends up putting all the, what do I want to say? They end up putting up a picture of them hanging out with the protesters up on the up on their website, and they're super proud about it, to the point where now you got protesters that are talking about it.
And I said, "Are you PPB?" And she said, "Yeah." And I said, "Oh my God, I don't hate you. Thank you for being the other one."
This right here is following the flashlight incident. The feds did make arrests. You're about to see this whole thing in like depth. But the feds came out, they made an arrest, and then you saw that second flashlight incident that was taking place where they're shooting pepper balls, all sorts of stuff, hitting with a really bright light. Afterwards, the feds go up and they talk to Portland police, who was literally like 15, like directly across the street. Directly across the street. This video is from Nick Sorter. It's got the best audio of what the Portland police ended up saying afterwards. And again, you're going to see all of this in context in the future, but I got to give you the idea of what's got me so livid today.
She told us anything, so we're standing there, we don't know what's going on. Oh my God, is this the So, it's just like, she's literally running behind you guys. Yeah, and we don't know why she's running. So.
Guy says, we don't know why she's running. They're shooting pepper balls at her. They've seen the feds come out and make arrests based on the situation that was ongoing. And the cop's like, hey, sorry, this person's hiding behind us. We just don't know why she was doing it. Like, are you serious? 444, you cannot be that incompetent.
Nice. Nice aim. I love that. Whoa. That AR
Okay, so let's start looking at all of this stuff in depth. First, I want to show you guys in context this entire incident. Now, the most video that ended up getting captured of this incident was actually captured by Honey Badger Mom, who I'm proud to say that we helped raise money and put $8,000, thanks to y'all, towards her legal defense. We ended up raising that over on Twitter. She's got a civil lawsuit filed against her for defending herself. It's going to cost her like 50 grand. Y'all were able to help take care of about 8 grand worth of that. And that money also went to getting Tommy Boy a decent ride, all right, to help him out. So you guys did some really, really good things. Before we get into this, I want to take over some of these super chats. Kid, becoming a brand new member. Good to have you, man. Incog Faraday, appreciate you for the reminder and the donation. And Leon Boyson coming in, gifting out to 50, man. That is a whopping 50 Speak the Truth memberships. Love it. All right. Here is the video in its totality. This is the most information that I've been able to find in one spot. And again, it ended up coming from Honey Badger Mom down on the ground over there.
To do that, they'll just slide them up with pepper
What's going on is not funny at all.
That's not what I'm referring to. I'm
Yeah.
referring to, you got a lot of people out here in suits and things like that. Like, you know what I mean? They're making it.
I do have a guard tonight.
It's about the absurdity of what's going on.
Now, what I like about this video is it is one of the longer ones, and it shows you the absurdity of the incident, right? You see the lights shining on the building.
So you can't.
See him?
It's a losing battle.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The only way Paul is going to do it, right? The only way.
Oh, now she's
Right. I mean,
thinks
if
the
it-
light
if-
is gonna
if
hurt
it's
me.
gonna go off here, I'm proud of my performance.
So, pretty clear as a bell that they've got massive beam lights that they're shining up at the ICE agents that are standing on the roof of the buildings in an attempt to blind them. That is a serious concern because those men and women are standing on top of that building in order to pull security and watch these protesters that have been violent towards them in the past, throwing explosive devices at them. Yep, they're fireworks, but when you take them and you improvise them and you throw them at people with the intent to like maim, wound, etc., that's the dang problem. So here, very clear. And this is why the Portland police, when they say, we don't know what happened, we have no idea why she was hiding behind us. We don't know. Like, they're full of it. So right here at this portion of the video, you see those officers start to move in that direction. They have identified one of the instigators that was shining those bright lights up and at them, and they're moving in to arrest that individual. Allegedly, that's what's taking place right here. Now, again, what is so important is the long duration that all of this crap was taking place over. It is impossible for them not to have known what was going on.
I knew it. I knew it.
Free my boy. He did nothing wrong.
And again, you want evidence of coordination. There's that guy in the background, right? Right as they go to arrest him, you can see him shining the dang light right there. Over here in his little freaking furry costume. All right, this is them trying to blind everybody. It's getting out of control. This is mass coordination. There was numerous people that were out there that evening trying to blind the dang cops.
Let him go.
What did he do? Tell the class what he did.
Leave him alone.
Is that the one that was shining the light? Because they all look the same to me.
It's not too late. Turn back.
I got some really ass tight fit.
All right, so now the incident has progressed. Again, this is taking place all evening. This isn't like a little 2-minute incident that Portland police can try to claim that they didn't know what was going on. This is crap that those guys and gals on the protester side were out there doing all night, blinding those cops with their silly, silly lights.
Whoa. Oh.
That AR is really nice. The AR Tucker is really nice.
What did that person do? They're going right up to him.
There you can see the people hiding right behind that sign, all right, from the original video that were shining the light around the corner. Another one taking off running. And again, people hiding behind the cops.
He wants to get shot.
Wait for it.
They're hiding behind the sign.
Where do they go? Where do they go? Directly behind the police.
Cover behind Portland police. Oh my God. You've
And
got to be kidding me.
Immediately, as soon as they run for cover right behind Portland police, who claim they had no idea what was going on, then they go and they shine that bright light. You mean to tell me that none of those officers and all of their training and experience knew what was going on around them? They couldn't notice that possibly large bright light. If you were to put this in a court of law and actually put it in front of a competent jury, would they actually agree with that officer's statements in the beginning? No, they wouldn't. There is not a snowball's chance that these cops did not notice that light. Look at how bright that is reflecting off their uniforms. This cop, literally, right here on his bike, looking directly at the guy as he's hiding behind Portland police and shining the dang light. Pick a crime. There's plenty of them at this point that have occurred. Then, in just a second here, we're going to go over and we're going to play Nick's video as soon as we finish this one out for context. And you're going to see complete excuse of that Portland police sergeant.
And the cops are shining a light. They're shining a light behind the cops. Okay, let's go.
Get that video. Pussy! I give you permission, shoot.
Where's the money?
Waste of Do you feel better now, you Nazi scum?
I don't want you guys to think I'm hiding anything. So again, I'm giving you things step by step here. In context, the best that I can give you. Here's Nick's complete and total video, which is showing that little portion of the isolated incident, followed by the interaction with Portland police.
Nice aim, I love that. Whoa! Get the
What did that person do?
They're shining something in the... They're hiding behind the sign. And they're running for cover behind Portland police. Oh my God. You've got to be kidding me.
Now, I like this video because you can see the size. That is not a regular flashlight. That thing is probably in the thousands of lumens range. That is a very, very bright spotlight. Reason it's not completely blinding these cameras out is just like me, you have like anti-refraction lenses that you end up putting over top and it ends up not blinding out your freaking light. Pretty sure everybody down there did that because of the amount of times that ANITFA was doing this to us with our cameras on the ground. I went out there knowing they were going to do that. And you can see it in my videos. Everybody has the common sense. Somebody says 3,000 plus, right. And And they're doing it right behind the cops. And again, the cops are looking directly at them.
It's kind of wild. Shoot everybody else to shoot one person.
The push you got, come on.
We should be allowed to hear what the fuck they're talking about.
So here you have the feds coming out to confront the Portland police. This guy on the left with his earpiece in, I remember him from being out there. He's a really cool, calm, collected cookie. He doesn't freak out. He doesn't do anything. Even when stuff was crazy, man, this dude's just walking, like, just kind of like chilling in the middle of the chaos. Like, he's got some experience underneath his belt. You can hear in this police sergeant's voice, you can hear him just trying to defend himself and gaslight this guy. I want to rewind it so you can listen to it in full. I'm not going to pause it. I want you to hear what he's saying.
We should be allowed to hear what the fuck they're talking
Nobody
about.
told us anything, so we're standing there. We don't know what's going on.
Oh my God, is this the church?
So it's just like she's literally running behind you guys. That's yeah, and we don't know why she's running. So
He said, "We have no idea what's going on. Nobody told us anything. We have no idea why she's running." Can you actually believe that statement after watching all of that video footage that any of the cops didn't know what was going on? Yeah, plus the lasers, and they didn't do anything. Not to mention, hey, guess what those other lights are great for doing? Not just blinding the police officer, but also the security cameras. So you take those super bright lights and you put them up and you flash that freaking camera trying to hide any other activity. It is not legal. They can't be doing that crap. And the Portland police, there's no way that they can pretend like they didn't know that.
Nice. Nice aim. I love that. Whoa. Takes a great goal. That AR is really nice.
well, they were trying to shoot a guy on the running away because they go to the street.
That was like,
I don't even think I need to say anything more about that particular video and how enraged that one in particular makes me. But what I do need to do is point this out, which is what ended up coming out, like, what, 2 days ago? Council chambers, enshrined by code, Portland is a sanctuary city. What message do you think they're sending here? What message do you think they're sending? By this? And then we're about to take a look at the Portland Police Bureau's policies and legitimately expose that they are, in my opinion, violating the law. Going directly against Oregon revised statutes. And at one point, straight up lying about what ORS says when it comes down to these incidents. And I'm going to show you the Portland Police Bureau's directive when it comes down to crowd control, management, etc. I'll quote the dang chapter and verse for you so you guys can see it. You want to talk about exposure? These guys are about to be exposed, and you're about to understand exactly why that incident went down the way that it did. The exact reason why it went down the way that it did, in my opinion. Let's not forget about this interview, because this lady's testimony, in my opinion, might just be a little bit relevant to the situation I just showed you. Here's all of it in complete and total context, not chipped down.
There's Portland police out here today, genuinely here to help the other side. I've been to a million protests, and honestly, I'm usually out here as a medic. I've never been on the end of it. So I'm like, the people who helped us out are angels. People who helped us out are angels.
Especially actual city officials.
I said to that woman, I said, "Are you PPB?" And she said, "Yeah." And I said, "Oh my God, I don't hate you. Thank you for being the other one." Everybody says not all cops, right? But it's few and far between that you experience that. There's Portland police out here today, genuinely here to help the other side. There's Portland.
How damning is that? How damning is that? You can't take away this at all. She's literally telling you that there's Portland police out there that are helping them. Kind of mind-numbing, in my opinion. Then we can go over the different things that we talked about last night about their virtue signaling on their release bulletins. How exactly the message that they're portraying to the general public. This, in my opinion, is extremely damning. This is Psychological Operations 101. This is the Portland Police's press release from, I want to say it was Saturday night going into Sunday, talking about the different arrests that were made. Last night, we had on a gentleman from this incident right here. He came on and he said that he had this person in a little clown costume that was getting way too close to him. He warned them half a dozen plus times at least before eventually pushing them off of him. She falls down. He goes up to the Portland police and says, hey, this is what just occurred. And again, his actions are perfectly legal, particularly with what I got told by Portland police. When people are in your face, you have a right to get them out of it. What did they end up doing? They ended up arresting the gentleman that defended himself. And then they published this picture right alongside his name of who got arrested, showing it. Then, in the top picture, you see him arresting somebody from the right. This 100% is the virtue signaling, psychological operations, everything else that those police are breaking down over there on a daily basis. Colby McCurdy, if all the noise and stuff that anarchists are making every night causes someone to have a mental breakdown and forever sleep, could they be charged with murder? Also, I got married. Congrats, Colby! I love that, man. Congrats, man. It's amazing. Good question. I don't know. Because now you're talking about jurisdiction and whether or not the district attorney is going to end up filing charges against them for that such incident. And I highly doubt that they will, based on what I'm about to show you guys. I did some digging, man. I did some serious digging. And I went in, and here are the two things. I want to point these things out to you guys because we're going to go over now the Portland police directives that gets them to that point, particularly for these incidences. All right? And it's important for you guys to actually understand the law and how it works. Now, I'm not an attorney. This isn't legal advice. I'm not telling you exactly that what I'm saying is 100% the gospel. All right? Never trust, always verify. Right? I've been pushing that forever. Never take my word as gospel. But for crying out loud, do your own research and use some common sense. These are the Portland police directives, right? These are pulled directly off of their website, okay? This is 063510, Portland Police Bureau response to public order and events. That's what I'm currently referencing as I go over this. It goes under paragraph 11.1. Failure to comply with an order to disperse is not a crime and shall not be the basis for an arrest. Now, they're saying after they give warnings and they tell people to disperse, that them simply refusing to disperse is not a crime and it's not the basis for an arrest. Well, I beg to differ. Based on Oregon revised statutes, 131.675, dispersal and unlawful assemblages. Now, over that loudspeaker playing from the ICE facility, they also have a message that's being blasted out saying, this is the Portland Police Bureau. Like, basically, don't block the driveway, stay out of the roads, and all of that other crap. They consistently blast these warnings out from the ICE facility. They did provide them, they had to have provided them with a recording. So those warnings and everything else have been given to them on a daily basis. Go back and listen to any of my feeds from when I was on the ground out there, anybody else's. You'll hear it. Here's what Oregon law says. When any 5 or more persons are unlawfully assembled in any county, city, town, or village, the sheriff of the county and the deputies of the sheriff, the mayor of the city, town, or village, or chief executive officer or officers thereof may go among the persons assembled, or as near to them as they can get with safety, and command them in the name of the state of Oregon to disperse. If so commanded, they do not immediately disperse, the officer may arrest them. That within itself, if they are commanded to disperse and they do not, and the word is here, immediately disperse, the officer may arrest them. Then there's this word right here. or. In legal terms, when you see the word or, that means that the officer may arrest them and in context for not immediately dispersing. And then you have that word or, meaning for a different reason, you can also arrest them. Cause them to be arrested for any unlawful activity constituting an offense, such as disorderly conduct, blocking the roadways, breaking noise ordinance, all of those things. And by the way, noise also falls under disorderly conduct. That word or is very, very, very crucial. It doesn't say and. It says or. Now there's another key word in the statute right here. The officer may arrest. May, meaning that in this instance, under this ORS, or under this Oregon Revised Statutes, it is not shall arrest, it's may arrest, meaning the officers are allowed to use their discretion. They do not have to necessarily arrest them. They can use their discretion. It is 1000% disobeying a lawful order by the police. That's why they blast that over those loudspeakers out there. This is what Oregon Revised Statutes say. Oregon Revised Statutes clearly lay out that it is a crime for them to not immediately disperse. Now, I need you to bear with me here because we're about to open up the Portland Police Directive that deals with this situation and is what actually directs the officer's conduct. Now, I didn't find it. I haven't been looking too deep yet, but generally speaking, this is something that the chief internal affairs, attorneys, city attorneys, they all sign off on these directives to make sure they're legal. Typically they do that. So let's go over there and let's check out specifically what they told them. 11.1. I'm going to open it up right in front of you. And we're going to go straight down to 11.1. Give me a second because it's going to take a sec. There we're at 7. 11.1. Failure to comply with an order to disperse is not a crime and shall not be the basis for an arrest. This directive that has been signed by the city been blessed off for the Portland Police Bureau. This directive directly contradicts Oregon Revised Statutes. Now, why is this a problem and why is this a concern? And by the way, you guys are more than welcome to go look this up. I'll actually take the link right now. I'll take the link for you guys, and you guys are more than welcome to go pore over it, and you can tell me whether or not I'm right and or wrong. Here's the link for it. I'll drop it in there in the chat for you guys real quick. Oh, come on. There we go. Sorry, I got 2 keyboards, two mouses. Mice? I don't know. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. That says Hamas strength. No, that's not it. Yeah, you don't want that one. Let's remove that message. That's not the right one. For some reason, I didn't copy and paste it correct. Let's try that again. Here you go. There's your link. You guys are more than welcome to go dig through the Portland Police directives. Failure to comply with an order to disperse is not a crime and shall not be the basis for an arrest. Meanwhile, Oregon Revised Statutes, if so commanded, they do not immediately disperse. The officer may arrest them. It is legitimately a crime. There is a flat out lie written in the Portland Police directives. Now, why is this such a huge concern for me? Oh, you want to know about the date? It's valid, by the way. When we go all the way down to the bottom, don't worry, I looked at that. You want to make sure I'm not wrong here and that it's valid? They gave it down here at the bottom. Effective date, March 3, 2024. And then the next review, I think, is in a couple years, if I remember right. Let me go down. Yep, effective. Excuse me, November 15th, 2024. Next review, 11/15/2026. This was just reviewed a couple months ago, less than a year ago. This policy was reviewed. So you can't sit here and try to sharp shoot me and say that this isn't it. It's literally pulled directly off their website. This is their active directives that they're going under. All right. Why is this such a massive issue? This is why I view this as an issue and why, in my opinion, it needs brought to light, and a lot of light. Because when you have things like this taking place, where you have the Portland police directives directly contradicting state law, you know what all of this stems from? All of this stems directly from originally when cities such as Portland, states such as California, New York, Colorado, pick one, all go against federal law. And the first time I remember that directly happening was with marijuana. And when they started decriminalizing that, initially the feds went in and they were cracking down on them hard. I remember this in California where we had the feds going in and raiding these different facilities that were producing medical marijuana, recreational marijuana. It didn't matter. They were going in and busting them left and right. Now they're all over the country to the point where the feds don't even do anything about it anymore, right? Then we ended up seeing sanctuary cities. That's a huge problem. Those sanctuary cities that they ended up coming out with, in my opinion, are a direct response to the feds basically not being able to control those states by those states just ignoring federal law. To the point where when the president of the United States is trying to direct the National Guard into Oregon, the entire council chambers ends up taking a picture with the Antifa protesters and literally telling the federal government to go shove it by saying Portland is a sanctuary city. The direct result of that can be seen in cities like Portland and Denver, where you have people ODing on fentanyl on a daily basis, dying in the middle of the street, and nothing's done about it. To the point where we get to chaos that's so freaking bad. So freaking bad. I don't even know what to say about it, to be honest with you. This isn't my look. If you guys don't think it's that bad over there, I'm going to go over and show you guys exactly where you can find this video in particular. It's on Nick's channel. All right. Look at this. What this is doing, and you guys can see the fireworks and stuff like that exploding, what this is doing is it's setting a legal precedent throughout the United States of America for other places like Chicago and everything else. They can do whatever they want, disregard federal law, and so be it. This is why it's such an important issue to me, and it should be an important issue to everybody else. This is why when I was on the streets, I said, nope, don't need to send in the National Guard. The Portland Police Bureau is more than capable of taking care of it. They have the assets. They just don't do it. Something needs to be done in order to force them, because the National Guard's going to come in. They're going to clear the block. But guess what? Those people that live in that state, in that city, are going to have to continue to sit by and deal with this crap after the National Guard pulls out. It doesn't solve the problem. It is a Band-Aid. And what's worse is this absolutely should concern every single American because of that precedent that is being set. We saw it happen with like the medical marijuana. Now it's pretty much every narcotic, depending on what city you go to, that they're all decriminalized. Places like California where you have property crimes. If it's under $1,000 or whatever the misdemeanor amount is over in California, police won't even bother responding. That ended up putting shopkeepers in a weird position. Lots of businesses had to close down and everything else. Now imagine if what's happening in this liberal, evil cesspool of Portland ends up spreading across the states, just like those other examples that I gave. Would you want this? Would you want to be living in a city or town where all of this is happening? It is an extremely slippery slope. Make no mistake about it, as far as I'm concerned, in my opinion, this right here that's up on the screen, this is evidence of systematic insurrection. Systematic, meaning it is ingrained. The Portland police legitimately can't even enforce the law. Their own directive tells them that they're not allowed to do that. Decided to ask AI the same question about it, and they said they could definitely be charged with manslaughter, negligent homicide. Great. That makes me happy, Colby. It really does, if that's how it could go. But if they could be charged versus will they be charged is two entirely different questions. Because who is the one that's supposed to be charging them? Ghost hybrid. Doesn't the law specifically assign that authority to the sheriff and the deputies in Oregon? Does it matter that it's federal agents? The Portland Police Bureau, when it says the officers, that's what it's talking about. It doesn't have to be the sheriffs or anything. There's also a thing that's called the spirit of the law, right? So you have the letter of the law and you have the spirit of the law. Those are two very important things when it goes down to legal interpretation. The spirit of that particular statute says that when the police tell them to disperse and they don't immediately disperse, that they can get arrested. That's the spirit of the law. So you have to read a little bit deeper. Go ahead, look up spirit versus letter of the law, and then put that in there and ask AI whether or not that's going to apply to a local municipality. The answer is going to be yes. That's how that works. Incog Faraday came in gifting out 5 Speak the Truth memberships. Colby McCurdy, if all the noise and stuff that the anarchists are making every night causes someone to have a mental illness, yep, he said Chat GPT or AI told him that, yep, they could be charged with murder. James, PPB seems more and more complicit, obviously. Steve Walke, nice to see law and order. No order from the above, not to do your job. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it. A wall stew. Brave men speak the truth, never surrender. Jay the Stray becoming a brand new true supporter. Huff, puff. With even more bad news, it looks like I missed my chance with Right Side Rebel. But in all seriousness, thank you for your coverage. Keep up the great work. Yeah, appreciate you, man. Jay the Stray. Portland PD is actively part of the insurrection, and it's time arrests are made. And Cock Faraday, of course, throwing it down for the ad fund, and we had 50 Speak the Truth memberships gifted out. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your direct evidence of an insurrection. You have a law, a state law, that is directly lied about inside of PPB's policy. They are trying to claim that it is not a crime. 1,000% it is. Now, I have been so upset over this entire thing, I don't even know where to begin. I'm going to do things a little bit differently today. What I'm going to actually end up doing is I'm going to open up a space over on X because I want to have a discussion in an X space as opposed to anything else. Like normally I do Discord, but I want you guys to go over to my X and I'm going to open up a space right now. That's what I'm going to do. I want you guys to come into that space because I can talk to everybody. If you guys don't know where my X is, it's right there on your screen. We'll even make sure it's recorded. I always get asked whether or not, people can come in the Discord and have the discussion. Yes, you can. But situations like this, I want to hear you guys. I want to hear your opinions. I want to hear your thoughts. If you guys are with us right now over on X and you're just hearing this in the space, know that you are live also over on YouTube with a ton of people that are listening. I'm going to take this link and I'm going to share it with everybody over in the stream so that they're able to get in here. And what I want is I'm looking for people with knowledge of the law. What we just went over in YouTube was the Portland Police Bureau's inability in order to actually enforce the law due to their directives. The link for you guys to go over there is pinned now up at the top of the chat. You guys are more than welcome to go over there. I want you guys to raise your hands. I want you to come up if you guys are over on Twitter and you're listening to this. We just went over Oregon revised statutes and we talked how ORS legitimately says that when people fail to disperse immediately upon giving the order, that they can arrest, which means it constitutes a crime. Portland Police Directive says that it doesn't constitute a crime, which is crazy because in ORS, Oregon Revised Statutes, it specifically states that. I'm looking for you guys. I want you guys to come up. I want you to raise your hands in order to speak. If you guys have never been on Twitter before, you got to request a mic. You guys are more than welcome to come in here. I want to hear from you. I just put it up over there. For some reason, this space is not working and people aren't able to get in. I don't see you guys requesting to get in here. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to end up closing out. I'm going to go into Discord and we'll open up Discord because I know you guys are going to be in Discord. This is not a complicated message. This is not a complicated situation. This is very, very cut and dry. Failure to comply with an order to disperse is not a crime and shall not be the basis for an arrest. Meanwhile, Oregon Revised Statute says, if so commanded and they did not immediately disperse, the officer may arrest them. So it is quite literally a crime under Oregon Revised Statutes. Portland Police Directive says it is not a crime under Oregon Revised Statutes, and that is a lie. It is a crime under ORS if they do not immediately disperse when they are lawfully commanded to do so. When we go over the different corruption that's taking place by the Portland Police Bureau, when we see Antifa protesters that are hiding behind them, when we see protesters that are on the streets saying that the police are on their side, knowing that they are violating the law, what other questions do we have other than that they have willfully disobeyed lawful orders? John Campbell, I'm going to bring you up along with Kelly. John, I'm going to give you the chance to speak first, sir. As soon as you are up in the space, go ahead, unmute yourself, and let's have a discussion. John ended up not making it in. Kelsey, what you got, ma'am?
Yeah,
Kelsey,
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah, I think that whole Portland thing, I've been watching it from the beginning, and I think it's insane that there's that much corruption that I think that either the federal government's going to have to step in or the people's going to have to rise up, one or the other.
How long do you think it's going to take before people rise up?
I'm ready. I'm just waiting for a leader to step up to guide everybody, because it's going to take leadership to do it. That's going to be key. It's going to have to take leaders willing to step up, and I think they will have people follow.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Kelsey, ma'am, what do you got?
Yeah.
All right, Mike, go ahead. Kelsey's not unmuting. Go ahead, Mike.
Hey, Matt, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, I'm just curious. Do the feds have authority to arrest Portland PD?
Yes.
Why aren't they doing it?
If the feds see them breaking the law, then they can. Now, if the feds had corroborating evidence that the Portland police were working alongside of Antifa, like I just saw, or they're sheltering them and they're harboring criminals, yep, they should be arrested. And I think that's the exact stance that the feds need to take. I want to see the feds take those officers and put freaking cuffs on them.
Yeah, I think last night was a perfect example of they should have arrested Portland PD on the spot.
Right. I don't know how you cannot arrest Portland PD on the spot when they're doing that crap. I'm gonna share it to the space so everybody knows what we're talking about. It should end up going up into the big purple pill or the bubble or whatever. If you guys are not caught up to par, what I'm talking about is right up there inside that bubble. Do you think they will actually do that?
No.
Why not? I think they will. I think if that takes place one more time, I think they are going to arrest Portland police. That officer that's just straight lying to the feds' face, saying they had no idea what was going on. There's no way.
Yeah, and last night you could tell those two officers that came out and had a little huddle with the Portland PD officers, they were not happy. So, yeah, you know what? Maybe they will. I don't know how much more it's going to take, though, to have that happen.
I would agree with you. I would agree.
All right, Matt. Thanks for letting me on.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, brother. Marie, what you got, ma'am?
Good morning. Thank you for your service, Matt. I am actually living in Oregon, and I came from Texas for personal reasons. And I actually am a widow. My husband was a warrant officer in Vietnam and is deceased. And this is an atrocity as an American here watching what I've observed here, even in Eugene. I will not come outside, and the No Kings protest I stayed in Saturday because of what I want to say. If anybody listens, as my father was a retired Fed, I've come from a three-letter agent family, big time. Um, the thing is, other people in other cities, other states. I wish we could advocate also writing letters, emails to President Trump and our Senate and our congressmen, the atrocities also, because I'm not going to get out there and protest. The fact that from what I've observed from your platform and seeing other great entrepreneurs recording out here and putting this out, because other people don't see this. My PTSD, I have my own PTSD. These young men and women getting out here in your face that you punch somebody or push someone, and then I would go over, hey, I've been assaulted, which I would be my normal knee jerk reaction for being assaulted. I'm arrested, and I would lose everything here that I've come from being a widow, my car, my dog, service dog, and my apartment. So this is my platform that I just want to say thank you again, and I will say, but that is my advocate, what we can do all over the USA. Do you think that's good? Because this is criminal.
It is. It's absolutely criminal. And like I said, I think this is evidence of a straight insurrection within the Portland Police Department, right? Like organized criminal activity within the Portland Police Department using police directives to not do it. And ma'am, thank you for your service as being a military spouse. That is, I mean, that sucks. Same behind. I didn't understand, this is just a side note. I never understood what families went through, and I still don't, but I came really, really close when I ended up getting medically retired, and I watched my team turn around and go right back overseas when I was at home going through the police academy and seeing people get killed, like friends of mine die over there.
Yes.
And it's hard. It's really hard. And I'm sorry for your loss of your husband. And I greatly appreciate you being a great American. I'm sorry you chose to move to Oregon or had to. Like,
I'm going to be moving out, I think.
Yeah, I grew up there, and I'm telling you, it was not always this way. It was not. We always had our weirdos, but they generally speaking remained in Portland. What ended up happening, right? What ended up happening was we had these people that were over there, and we ignored them for so long that eventually they started taking over. And that's why I'm not remaining silent anymore, because it is literally to the point where you have police directives that are in direct violation of Oregon revised statutes. Like, that's how bad it's gotten, to where the city council is just blowing off federal law blatantly to their face, standing with the protesters that are violating federal law. They're standing outside the facility. They're harassing people. And we have to say something at this point.
Yes. And the VFW, I'm auxiliary lifetime member. And when I've seen the city council go and be on TV, and they don't, and some of them are not even pledging allegiance when they start their business meetings, is appalling, because I take an oath to my flag. So that's another one too. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Joe, what you got, brother?
Hey, man, this may seem like, well, to some a trivial point or a minor point, but what we'd have to look, but what exactly does the oath that the Portland police officers take when they join the police department, what exactly does it say, and are they in violation of that oath? That's all.
Good question. I mean, I'll look that up, but they're definitely following the directives. That's for dang sure. And I didn't even read through the totality of the directives, like from top to bottom. But it's pretty clear, just as you read over the directive as a whole, that there's other portions that they're already in violation of. So I mean, even on that one, though, that's the one portion that I could find within that one directive that I read over, and it's long, that directly contradicts Oregon revised statutes. And I got a feeling if I go through all of the directives, I'm going to find more.
I'd be curious to see what their oath says too. I'd be willing to bet they're in violation of that.
I'm gonna check and see if ChatGPT can't just crap me out and answer real quick.
Cool. Thanks,
here's what it is. It's all right. The form of an oath for non-elected city employees, which would include sworn police officers, is stated in section 3.74.030. I do solemnly affirm or swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the state of Oregon and the Charter of the City of Portland and its laws, and I will faithfully, honestly, and ethically perform my duties as a police officer.
Well, I think they're violating their oaths, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody would agree with you on that. I'm going to bring up a couple more of you guys. Thanks for pointing that out, by the way. I completely and totally forgot that. But you're right. Supporting the Constitution of the United States is first and foremost, right?
Roger that. Thanks, man.
Yeah. When I was a law enforcement officer and they came out with red flag laws, guess what? Not a single officer on my shift was like, yep, we'll enforce that. Nope. Told them to shove it. Winston, what's up?
So a little background, since you're talking about this. Up until 2023, they just changed it. That was not a may arrest. That was a must arrest. Not only that, I believe, I'm not 100% sure. It's been a while since I read it. But it also had a provision within the sheriff's duties to remove the sheriff if they refuse to make the arrests for riots. And so in 2023, they changed that. And that's whenever you got your policy changed to where they decided all of a sudden it's not a crime because it switched from must to may.
But may still means it's a crime because you may arrest them for it.
It absolutely does. But as far as just the background of when that changed, yeah.
I'm pretty sure if I looked up, driving without a license, it's going to be a misdemeanor in the state of Oregon. It's probably a may arrest. It's the same level of crap. So just because it says may doesn't mean it's not a crime. Like shall arrests are very few and far between where you shall. Most of the time it's like domestic violence, murder, things like that. Those are your shall arrests, right? Like those are few and far between.
Yeah. So I'm totally agree with you there. But what I'm saying is why that changed and where they all of a sudden decided that. They just basically concluded that it must be, basically they couldn't repeal it completely because there was a motion to repeal the whole damn thing.
What?
And then, yeah, I didn't pass. But what they did get passed was switching it from must to may.
Wow. Well, even as a may arrest, it still makes it a crime. 100%. It makes it a crime. Daryl, what you got? Daryl, you can unmute yourself. Or conspiracy. You're welcome. Daryl.
Hello, Matt. Thank you for everything that you've been doing. It's amazing.
Appreciate you.
The question I have is, what is Portland getting out of this policy change? Who is paying them? What's in it for them to be on the side of the left?
So the vast majority of that city is very far left leaning, so it keeps them in office. So they're trying to make their constituents happy by ignoring the law.
Is it really that simple?
Yes.
Amazing.
And then you got to picture a lot of the people that are in those positions. In my opinion, a lot of those people that are in those positions are also like sympathizers. That's why that one video of the lady talking about the Portland police actually being with them and helping them.
That's really where I was going with this. Is if there is some sort of complicity going on, that's bad. That's not the rule of law, and it needs to be addressed.
I agree with you 110%, man. It absolutely does need to be addressed. Yeah, of course.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Go ahead, Conspire.
Yeah, so I have witnessed firsthand on the scene there at the ICE facility, the police absence after 10 o'clock at night while violence is happening.
Right.
I've witnessed people calling the police when people are getting attacked, and the police refusing to show up, making victims meet them 5-6 blocks away, waiting hours and hours for the police to show up off scene just to make a police report. Arrests not happening, people getting hurt, ambulances not coming in to help victims that are actually hurt on the scene. I mean, it's just out of control over there. Go ahead.
You were not lying, by the way. Like those police that are on scene, that are on their bikes and stuff, that are hanging out over there, they never get off and go do anything proactive. Like technically what happened in Nick's order when I was down there, when the flag got ripped out of his hands, that's a robbery, right? That's a robbery. And the police were able to see all that stuff on video and they didn't do anything about it. They didn't contain the scene. They didn't, investigate at all. they didn't use reasonable suspicion to take people, identify them, detain them, and actually get to the root cause of the problem, which is known as an investigation. They didn't do any of that. In one case, there was a felony menacing that took place directly in front of me on camera with cops like 2 feet away. And they literally did nothing. Reported it directly to them. They let the suspect just walk away.
Well, over the weekend at the No Kings protest, I was at Pioneer Square filming a few of the people that were there counter protesting. There were attacks happening in broad daylight. For hours, it was happening. I have it all on video. Police didn't show up. A violent mob chased the counter protesters through the city as attacks were happening. There were children conspiring with each other, offering each other money to punch a Nazi, steal their equipment, steal their hats. There were no police at all in broad daylight for hours as these people were being chased through the city.
Yep. It doesn't surprise me at all. Not at all. Ann, what you got, ma'am?
First, God morning to everybody. And second, Matt, I was reading the rest of the oath, and it says where, hang on one second, I'll go back in. And that the official is not a member of any committee of any political party. Isn't it known that some of Portland PD is actually closeted Antifa?
Is actually what with Antifa?
Closeted Antifa, like they're Antifa related, or they support Antifa, or, I thought I'd read or heard or saw videos about Portland PD being members of Antifa.
It certainly would seem that
or
way.
Outwardly, overtly supporting them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and if anybody on the panel or in
So
the
that's
chat has
another
direct
violation
information
of the
that,
oath right there.
yeah, I don't have it, but what's really, really interesting about the Portland Police Directive is when you go in and you read it, it actually talks about making sure that you're coordinating with like the heads of these like protests, and that you have to stay in contact, and specifically directing, I believe it was the liaison officers, to make sure that they're the ones doing that. And so there is a guaranteed direct communication between the Portland Police, documented communication between the Portland Police and Antifa. And I'm very curious to see what that says.
See, me too as well, because that also would be a violation. So they've got 3 or 4 violations to the oath as of right now.
But I mean, the way the policy is written, when you look at it, they're trying to say in order to keep order, in order to, all this other crap that ends up going into the directive.
Yeah,
why they do it.
They wrap it up pretty. Yeah.
But it also points out when it becomes tumultuous and violent activity that they're supposed to do something about it. When you have explosive devices being thrown at the feds, when you have people displaying disorderly conduct by shutting down the roadways, getting into fights, like doing all of those things out in the streets as a result of all of this, when you have them causing noise pollution to the point where it's disrupting the sleep of the people in the building, when you have assault taking place with the noise and all of those things, and the police just flat out ignore it or pick and choose when they want to implement it, that's where you really, really start getting into civil rights violations and breaking of federal law, not providing equal protection under the law.
I'm like, how do we get? Yeah.
Right.
I totally agree. I couldn't agree more. I'm like, how do they keep getting away with this? But like you said, it's the corruption, and it's the showing the people, not telling the people, in my opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, Conspire.
Yes. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, ma'am.
Have a blessed day.
God bless. Conspire, what you got, friend?
Yeah, so there were multiple incidents at the ICE facility where mobs were surrounding counter protesters, attacking them. Police were called. Absolutely no police presence after 10 o'clock at night. It's total corruption. It obviously seems to be organized, that the police are in on trying to have something happen to make, it's just out of control, and I don't understand why it keeps happening night after night.
Yeah.
Especially with the coverage that it's getting.
Yeah, and Ron, I'm trying to bring you up, brother. If you're able to make it up in there, and if you guys don't have anything to say, if you guys
can hear
drop
me? Am
down.
I on?
Yeah, Ron, go ahead. I'm just looking over inside of the DMs that you sent me. Can you explain that stuff?
Yeah. So under President Obama, I think everybody here is probably going to remember there was massive police reform that Obama had tried to conduct in his two administrations. And a lot of it was done based upon some fraudulent information regarding, if you remember, inherently racist was one of the tactics that was used, and that white police officers went out to hunt black suspects to shoot them, and all of the protests that had taken place. During that period of time, what the Obama administration did was utilize what's known as consent decrees, which is the Department of Justice has got a complaint against individual local police departments for unconstitutional behavior. An investigation is done, a judge gets involved in a court matter, and if it's deemed that the police department has an inherently unconstitutional practices, a judge orders them to change their practices or face things such as a complete takeover of the department by the Department of Justice, etc. The department agrees to do so by signing what's known as a consent decree. This was done to try to force American law enforcement cities, there were 15 of them under Obama, to then follow their practices the way they wanted it to be done. Again, this is based upon some fraudulent information, because they would go in and say, well, look, this police department arrests 2 black people to 1 white person, and therefore it's inherently racist because there's only 35% black population within this city. So this is inherently racist. This department is not acting in constitutional bounds, and therefore we're going to file a lawsuit. They'll have to file a consent decree, etc. That's the background.
So
when Donald Trump took office, he absolutely upended most of those. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Matt.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you, so like, absolutely, in my opinion, I think in yours as well. Yeah. The Trump admin seeing stuff like this absolutely can go and launch that investigation into them, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And
well, it takes a complainant, right? So if you live in one of these communities, if you're in the jurisdiction of Portland Police, Seattle Police, or any one of a myriad of other departments that are acting this way, start filing complaints with the Department of Justice and saying your department is acting unconstitutionally. They're mandated by law to do an investigation. If they find that this stuff is unconstitutional, it'll be presented in front of a judge, and the judge will say, enough is enough. You'll have to sign this consent decree. So my point real quick on this, Matt, thanks for having me up.
Yeah, always, man.
Use the Obama tactics in the opposite way. And utilize those tactics to force Portland, to force Chicago, to force Seattle to follow the Constitution. That's my point here. I think that things can be done if we just use Obama tactics against them and force them to follow the Constitution.
I think that's a pretty sound theory, to be perfectly honest. I think it's a pretty sound theory. I want to welcome up Stealth Gaming. Ron, thank you for that. And by all means, jump in. I value your opinion. You're a smart guy. But Stealth Gaming got arrested the other day for specifically what I showed on that police flyer. For those that are unfamiliar with it, this lady that is, if for those you watch on YouTube, you guys can see this lady that's sitting down being coddled by the police is the person that Stealth Gaming ended up defending himself against. And then the cops ended up arresting him. Go ahead, brother.
So what's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Not much. So I got court today, so I'm just kind of chilling. But like for the people that didn't hear what happened or don't know the full story, so like on the day of the No Kings protest on Saturday, I went, instead of being involved in the main march and everything, because I'm not going to deal with all that drama and BS, I went down to the ICE building around 5. About like 10, 20 minutes later, that lady in the upside down clown inflatable started like getting in my face and like just getting too close to me. I warned her several times verbally, extremely loud, to get out of my face and back up. A bystander grabbed her by the top of her inflatable and dragged her away. She came back roughly 5 minutes later and got in my face again. I gave her more warnings. And the way I saw it, I don't know what she has inside the inflatable. I don't know who the hell they are. So it's an unknown threat, with unknown weapons. So I shoved her, and she fell down, scraped her elbow or arm or whatever. And I got harassment B and assault 4.
Is that you by chance that they show on that flyer in cuffs?
Yeah, that's me.
Oh, okay. So that one is you. Oh, did we meet?
Yeah, I was there when you were
trying
trying
so,
to do
man. Yeah.
Yeah. I was the one that was like watching your stuff when you brought all the
I remember.
Corner.
That's the okay. So that's even more virtue signaling now. If we're going to be perfectly honest about this, they show the picture of you being arrested, them coddling the person that was up in your face, violating your personal space. Who, again, Portland police had told me when I was out there, if people are doing that, you have every right to push them off you.
Well, the thing is like the person was about as close to my face as like that little knob on your microphone is.
Right. Yeah, that's way too close. Cops won't even allow people to stand that close to them for a reason, because you cannot react fast enough. And these people have been violent in the past. And a reasonable person in your situation would fear for their personal safety.
Well, it's also just like it happened a long time ago when, I don't know if you know who John Hacker is, but he started getting up in people's faces in the little group I was in down at the ICE building, and I pulled my knife out because he has a history of being extremely violent for no reason and using his like deformed like thumb as like a way to shank people in the face.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep. This is a major issue.
Yeah, so I got court today at 2. If any of you guys want to come hang out with me while I'm there, that's chill.
I mean, just go show a force, honestly. Just go, don't take over the courtroom, but show up and actually show support.
Well, yeah, the thing I'm more like concerned about is, wasn't there also that dude, man, or whatever that same day was arrested for assault as well? The one with the megaphone?
Yes, I will open up that. I didn't even talk about that one yet.
If they drop the charges on that person, but don't drop the charges on me for a much, much less like physical contact charge or situation, because I didn't full on just like roundhouse the person in the face. I open-handed, two-handed, shoved them away from me.
Yeah, no, you need to be suing the crap out of everybody. As a matter of fact, I just need
I'm gonna wait to see what they do today, and depending on what they do, either way they're gonna get sued, because it's past that line of civil rights now.
Oh, it's far beyond that. It's unequal enforcement of the law.
That person on the screen, if that person in the dress doesn't get that assault charge, which shouldn't be an assault 4, that should be at least an assault 3 or 2.
So,
but
they also arrested the lady in jeans, by the way. They arrested her, and they called it, if I go back over it here, they arrested her. Let me pull up that.
It was, I think it was assault 4 and like a bias crime.
Yes, bias crime.
If you go back and look at that video, you can actually see her if you play it in slow motion. The trans whatever you want to call her. She grabbed her arm and pulled it down into her.
Yes, she
the one girl did not hit her mic. You know, whenever it showed like her arm coming down hitting the mic, it was the other one grabbed her arm and pulled it down to the mic, then punched her.
Well, right. So let's watch what happens. And like you said, I'll put it in slow mo. It's absolutely preposterous. Like when I watched this, I was like, dude, no. Like you see her coming by, ringing the bell. Great. I don't agree with that. Ringing the bell in the face. I think she's got a right to like push her back. But there you see her grab and pull her hand down and then punch her in the face. There was none of that. Like you can legitimately see it. And so why is this lady charged with harassment and a hate crime?
Well, it's also like I
you
said
can
earlier.
clearly see her holding her hand.
Yeah. If this person in the dress doesn't get charged, why will I get charged? We already know that there's going to be an extreme bias because I'm a Trump supporter. But it's just ridiculous.
I agree with you.
And if Antifa is designated as a domestic terrorist organization, why aren't they being arrested as terrorists?
Because we're in a sanctuary city and the city wants to coddle. Obviously, you saw they want to coddle and demonize anyone that opposes what the city stands for.
It's not just that, man.
Federal law.
All
They don't care.
All around the country, we're seeing that happen. All around the country, we're seeing it happen. So the question is,
you make a citizens arrest because they were designated as a
for a
terrorist
felony. So for a felony, and I'd have to check the ORS.
Matt.
Yeah.
The Jackie Kennedy person in the chat, I did contact the same law firm as Nick, and I'm still waiting on a call back to whether or not they're going to pick up the case or not. But if it does move into a civil rights thing, I will be going through them and trying to join Nick if I'm able to make that a bigger case.
Well, I think what we need to do is we need to organize. So I think today what I'm probably going to end up doing is finding everybody with a wrongful arrest. I've got my own dispute with the city that I'm about to sue the pants off of them for, waiting on a 911 call to come back from a FOIA request. As soon as I get that, then we've got everything we need in order to push our lawsuit forward. And I'll be releasing all the information about what it is. So what I would like to do is just organize a massive, I'm talking like a massive lawsuit against them with everybody. Winston, what's up, buddy?
Okay, so people are talking about the whole arrest them just for being Antifa. So because it's a domestic group, you can't arrest just on membership. However, that does give cause for enhancements for other criminal violations, right? So then you can take an assault and then you can start making an argument as to why that assault is part of a terrorist act and stuff like that. So, but I mean, every single person out there has committed crimes. Everybody, like harassment at the bare minimum. Not a single, anti-ICE person out there has not committed harassment or, your, what is it, organs equivalents of a peace disturbance or whatever. They've all done it. If you read any of those laws, every last one of them should be in a cell by now.
Or violation of a sound violation.
Just read over disorderly conduct. Disorderly conduct in ORS, it's pretty clear. Disorderly conduct, they violate it on a daily basis, and they do nothing about it. Nothing.
Well, if you want to hear the funny thing is like the anti-ICE protesters that were arrested while I was in booking, every single one of them had to get put in an isolation cell because they wouldn't like shut the hell up or calm down for them to do anything.
They can't put them in Gen Pop because they'll probably end up getting their freaking butts whooped by any of the random Antifa ones. They'll probably gang up on them, or you'll end up getting another fight and catch another charge. Like, you gotta isolate them.
Well, all the grown-ass men and women inside the detention center would beat their asses because they think all these Antifa thinks they're big and tough, but that's only when they have like one person for 10 people.
Yeah, I'm well aware of that. I need to read over some of these super chats over on YouTube real quick. 3AM Forge came in gifting out 5 Speak the Truth membership. Jay the Stray says, Kevin is an independent journalist in Portland, found a man who OD'd on fentanyl and had passed. It was 2 hours after he called the police that they ended up showing. Yeah, I actually shared that on the show the other day, Jay. Naked, appreciate your donation. Adam, DLC, I wonder how many illegals are out there. A lot. And they end up running away because they don't want to get arrested by the feds. Thomas Monk, isn't there citizens arrest in Portland? It's not up to the officers at that point, but up to the prosecutors to move forward. At least it's a start and highlights the prosecutors who are involved. Okay. Yeah. While we're on that citizens arrest thing, let me go back and show you guys something. Right.
Well, isn't a citizen's arrest limited to felonies?
Yes. or if you are assisting officers in doing their duties. And this is the issue that I have. And I laid this out in a post. I want to say it was sometime last week. And I'm going down to grab it to put it up on the screen for folks at home. I'm going to show the photo with it. Haven't released the video. Believe me, we've got this video and another one. And again, we're waiting on the 911 call. This is what ended up happening to me when I did that. Federal officers were engaged in a foot pursuit with this particular suspect who I'm about to put on the screen. I helped out, and unbeknownst to me, the feds had to retreat back into the ICE facility. Portland 911 refused to dispatch officers to our locations, even after we told them that we had him detained, even after we told them that he was fighting, even after we informed them that more Antifa were closing in and we were about to be assaulted, which we eventually were. The city failed to provide equal protection under the law. Now you got to ask yourself why. PPB had officers 1 to 2 blocks away that night. We have more videos, and we're just waiting on the 911 call recording. And here's the video of that suspect detained. And again, 911 operator refused to dispatch officers. So when you're asking whether or not you can do that, sure. Legally, yeah. Ended up talking to a Portland police detective about it. He said 100% I did nothing wrong. And I believe he even said, wow, that's kind of messed up. So this is the issue here. You can do that. But whether or not the police are going to show up, good luck. Good luck. So
I've had times where I've waited 30 minutes on, like, after dialing 911 at my house, and they didn't answer. The call just got dropped.
Right. Of course. We ended up hanging up eventually after being assaulted because the police are just not responding. Like, why sit there and talk to the dispatcher? Dispatcher's questioning why we did what we did instead of saying, you know what, that's an automatic code 3 response for an active disturbance. It's an automatic code 3 response for what's taking place, physical altercations. And they sent nobody. And again, officers just blocks away.
I wanted to say, for anyone that doesn't know, that only sees things happening in and around the ICE facility, this is a problem throughout the entire city. There are weeks that will go by where I'm all over that city and I don't see any police presence at all.
Yeah. Yeah. And they'll come out in force sometimes, or they'll just be staged a couple blocks away. And we all know what time they end up leaving. We all know what parking lots they stage in. We all know where they're at. And Antifa, believe it or not, actually has people roaming around with radios checking for these things and talking to people. They legitimately have lookouts that are out there. It is organized, whether people believe it or not. It's very well organized. Twitchy Bear over on YouTube says the dispatcher may have been an illegal. Yeah, possibly. Go ahead, Ron.
Yeah, Matt, regarding your situation and for anybody else that's going to get involved to the degrees that you have gotten involved in, I would just caution you, make sure you check the state law where you are sitting in, because every state is a little bit different in the way that they word these things, and indemnification for people that assist can be different.
Correct.
So what can be true in Portland, Oregon may not be true in Madison, Wisconsin, or Portland, Maine, or whatever. So before you really get yourself ingratiated into those situations, while I agree with Matt, anytime that there is a potential crime that is being happening, especially that can cause bodily harm or great bodily harm, it is the duty of the police to respond to that. But as far as you assisting or making a citizen arrest or anything along those lines, just make sure you're in conformity with your state law, because they're going to be different from state to state.
That is 100% valid. It is all going to change. And I made sure that I was in compliance. I thought through everything that I saw. I was 100% in compliance. So there is no reason for them not to have responded. That's the big issue.
Well, you can still be 100% in compliance with the law, and Portland PD will still arrest you
100%
and say you're the person that's the instigator or whatnot. Just like they did with Nick. He
100%.
Was the victim of an assault, and they arrested the victim instead of the assailant.
It happened to Tommy too.
That's just what Portland's been doing the last at least 5 years.
Yeah, and it happened to Tommy too. I watched it happen to Tommy. It's freaking troubling. So
I just as a quick follow up, Matt, absolutely true, but don't put yourself at more risk than you have to in these situations by not knowing the state law and getting yourself involved in something that is prohibited by that particular state. That's all. That was my point.
Yep. And when the time comes, I will properly articulate my position and why that lawsuit's being filed and why everything I did was within my legal rights, within state law, within federal law, everything like that. But until that time comes, when I get that done, when it comes time, then you're going to get the whole shebang on what happened. But it was within the law, letter of the law, to a T. And the issue is not providing, it is a civil rights violation of not providing equal protection under the law. And my feeling is that because they were aware that I assisted feds in this case, that is why they refused to respond. Thing is, that's not how it's written. And they had a duty to act, in my opinion.
Well, in your situation, there was the federal crime that the feds were trying to get him for, and then he started assaulting you guys. So either side could have stepped in and taken care of it with
100%.
you. But
not to mention the guy trespassed. Not to mention the guy had jumped over a high fence and trespassed onto some property as well while he was trying to evade the feds.
Like the ICE officers had to get back and deal with like their stuff at the ICE building, which is completely understandable. You don't want to leave a small group of individuals outside the bit larger group of officers, but Portland should have at least sent, I don't know, 2 or 3 bike officers at the minimum, or a liaison guy, instead of just sitting there with their thumb up their butt.
It wouldn't have been
and
that
twiddling
hard.
it.
Well, if the dispatcher even notified the police is the problem, because the
doubt they
dispatcher
did.
refused flat out. There's no reason why that shouldn't have been done. Joshua, go ahead. Joshua, stealth, if you could mute yourself, that'd be great. Joshua, what you got?
Yes, sir.
Joshua, it's got to be glitching, man, because I can't hear you speaking. You might have to drop down and come back up. Ron, did you have something else? I see your hand still raised. At least that's what it's showing on my screen.
Nope, just listening. If it's up, I'll try to remove it.
It's not. It's probably not you. You know, the spaces glitch like crazy. Daryl, did you have something? I believe I just brought you up as well.
No, I really didn't, other than trying to figure out how this type of corruption can just become endemic to society. I mean, I understand that most of the people that live there are on the left, and that would insinuate that probably a lot of the people within the police force and other government agencies are also on the left. So what can we do to clean this garbage out? Because this is ridiculous. I mean, this is not just a Portland problem. This is endemic to the entire country. And a lot of people just don't see it, that the communists have been trying to take over this country since the end of World War II. And because things got really lazy in the 60s and nobody cared about it after that, we're kind of where we're at now. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I think it's exactly what you just said. People got lazy. We were ignoring what was actually taking place. You know, there was a guy that I got in an argument with. It wasn't even an argument, just legitimately standing up for myself. And I noticed all of the crap that was happening around me, and this guy was harassing Tommy, and I was like, this is it. This is America now. Because what do you mean? I was like, this is America. Sad. This is what happened. This is what happened when all of us were off fighting a 20-year global war on terror. You guys just decided to let this place go to crap. Thanks for taking care of my hometown, bud. Really appreciate that.
That's sick and disgusting. I mean, it makes me want to puke. That was what was happening here while we were trying to destroy, murder, Hamas and all those other kinds of people and Taliban and whatnot. It just sucks. You can't even leave the house and come back to it not being trashed. It just sucks. So my other question is, since we kind of understand what is happening, what can we do about it? Because it seems that if we try to deal with these people on their own terms with the law, they're always going to win because they're in power. So, what can we do to reverse this multi-decade problem?
Exactly what we're doing right now. And you can't do it otherwise, in my opinion. Like, you have to do it exactly like what we're talking about now, which is calling them out and bringing it to light. The issue is that nobody was aware other than Portland what was happening. And just like, if you take it down at like the little macro level and you take a look at like the apartment complex directly across the street, when all this stuff was first happening, people were complaining to the cops about noise and everything else, but their calls went so unanswered for so long, they just stopped.
Yeah, it's like learned helplessness.
Right.
When they will not do their jobs.
Right. And I think
a lot of Americans don't know how to deal with that because they, people don't know how to take care of themselves anymore. So if they find themselves in a crappy situation, they don't know how to deal with it. It's like the elephant on the chain, learn helplessness.
Yeah. And I mean, here you got Jay the Stray in the comment section. He said, Tommy was followed home by a group of gangbangers last night. They made threats to kill him. He used the word.
That's horrible. And, he ought to be able to protect himself. Anybody in that situation who is being targeted by anybody should be able to protect themselves. But what do you think the chances are if he really did? He would end up in prison rather than the ones who are assaulting him or trying to do him harm. It's sick. We need to change this.
Yeah, I agree. We do need to change it, and we do need to bring all of this to everybody's attention. Like, my biggest issue is that they are setting a precedent in Oregon that's going to get carried across to these other states. They are setting a precedent
100%.
that you are going to see pop up in other states. And if anything, just as an American, you should be pissed off because the Portland Police Bureau is literally wasting your money. They have the ability. They have the ability within their statutes to shut this crap down. They have. I mean, I could take what did I say? It was disorderly conduct law and apply that equally across the board. That road would be open. Nobody would be getting assaulted. All of that noise would go away just by enforcing one law. One law. That's all they have to do.
It just seems like they're so deeply ingrained with the protests that are going on. They actually seem to support them because they don't, through their neglect to enforce a law. They're almost they're happy to help Antifa.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they sure are.
Thanks a lot, brother. I really appreciate everything you do, man.
Yeah, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. I really, really do. Ron, your hand's back up again. I'm curious if that's because it is a.
Yeah, I wanted to help answer the previous gentleman's question is how we got there and where we can go. Number one, see if this plays across other avenues of government. Somebody that's very liberal gets elected, then they put into place their school board, their police and fire commission, their police chief, who then changes the hiring practices of those particular entities and begins to hire only ideological people, not based upon merit, but based upon either DEI, which happens very frequently, or their ideology. And suddenly the school board and the things that are being changed in school, what's being taught is completely different than it was 10 years ago. And the way that police is done and the way that policing is done is completely different. And once they get ingratiated into the system, it's very hard to get them out. And suddenly you have a complete transformation of your public education system and your policing. It's the same thing across the board. That's exactly what's taking place in places like Portland, Seattle, Chicago, and other places. All you have to do is listen to the mayor speak. It's about what's going to happen in New York City with the new mayor. So very quickly, in 30 seconds or less, what can we do about it? This is the start, as Matt said. Bringing sunlight upon is a beginning of disinfectant, but in your local areas, you need to band together and you need to start coming up with practical strategies. For instance, one of the things that's actually fairly easy is the sheriff's department within the counties of these particular areas are elected positions. Start pushing for Republican sheriffs as a compare and contrast to the city itself. and watch what happened in Miami. That's exactly what happened down there. And suddenly the police became more conservative. The same thing happened in Milwaukee when a conservative sheriff was elected, and they had a no chase policy, which started to create problems with the satellite cities around Milwaukee.
Sure does.
And that police chief was fired because of their weakness and the bleed over into the surrounding communities, which gained a lot of traction in the media. And that liberal police chief was fired, and all because a conservative sheriff said enough is enough. So I could go on and on. I won't for time purposes, but there are tactics and strategies that you as an individual citizen can begin to do, like Matt is doing right now, including consent decrees and also suing and lawsuits for civil rights violations, etc. So yes, you don't have to sit on your hands and take it. There are things that can be done, but it's going to take a group of citizens to band together in order to make that happen.
Ron, is this something that, with my situation, I would be able to file that federal complaint for corruption based on that call, or do I have to actually live in that municipality in order to do so?
No, I think if you were there when it happened, you would have standing, but I'm not an attorney, Matt, so I don't know. You'd have to talk to an attorney. But the fact that crimes were committed against you in that particular jurisdiction, I believe would give you standing in order to file a lawsuit.
Well, that lawsuit, yeah, in particular, I know I can file a lawsuit, but I'm talking about the route that you were talking about here earlier, with filing that complaint with the Justice Department for them to open up the investigation in Portland, because that's really what needs to happen.
Yeah, I think you might. That's a good question. I think you might have standing because the unconstitutionality happened in their jurisdiction while you were in their jurisdiction.
Right.
So I think that would allow you to have standing as well. But again, I'm not an attorney, and I don't even play one on TV.
Well, the worst that I could do is file a complaint and see what happens. Like, that's worst case scenario. They tell me no. Best case scenario, all of a sudden there's an investigation that gets opened up, because that's what I want after witnessing everything that I've witnessed. That's what I believe needs to happen. I believe that's the best route. I could care less about suing Portland and taking money from the city, even though that will maybe grab their attention if enough people are doing it, but it's going to be tied up in litigation for years. The real answer is
one final thing on that, Matt, is that police departments work hard for accreditation. And accreditation is something that is a very long process to go through. And it helps them in a variety of different reasons, including limiting their civil liability. And if you can prove they're not following their accreditation could be taken away from them. And that would hurt them as well.
That's actually very valid. You are absolutely correct on that one. That is huge. That is huge. All right. I've been going at this for about an hour and a half. I know I've only had this space open for probably about 30, 45 minutes or so.
I got my mic working now.
No, you don't. You are coming in sounding like a garbled thing. Try again. Can you speak again? Whoever that was that just sounded horrible.
Can you hear me, Matt?
Yeah, that's a little better. Go ahead.
Hey, Matt. My name's Brad. I live in Beaverton.
Okay.
2 years ago, I was hit by an illegal alien. I got a titanium pelvis now. Just learned how to walk again.
Jeez.
It took over a year to catch them, and they finally deported them. They were caught by the Portland police, and they had cell phone footage of me on my motorcycle in the air after they tried to run me over. And the Portland police didn't want to do shit about it. Beaverton police and Washington County police got them into their jail, and then they got them out of the country.
Did it take place in Multnomah County or Washington County?
Washington County. City of Beaverton, actually.
Okay. So the city of Beaverton was actually all about that life, but Portland police weren't trying to chase him down. Is that what you're telling me?
Portland police caught him because they ran from the Portland police on a traffic stop, and they ran their car down the Max line, and that's how they caught him. They found the cell phone under the seat with footage of me on it.
You're kidding.
Them trying to kill me, basically. And then we left the scene of the accident.
Well, what was their motive for trying to kill you?
Because I was white, and I think they were trying to steal my bike.
Sounds about right. Yep. Yeah, Beaverton is, and for those of you guys that don't know, Beaverton is a huge subset of Portland. You just go a couple miles west, and you're in Beaverton. Now the issue is that the homeless problem, the drug problem, the crime problem, it started off inside Portland at large. and then it spread over into Beaverton, and then from Beaverton it went to Hillsborough. From Hillsborough it went into like Forest Grove, and so on and so forth.
Correct.
And to the point where you have these homeless camps that are pushed so far out that all of this crime is now affecting the entire area. So the municipality itself is literally like the city of Portland, and the bad policing activity that's taking place there has caused all of these crimes to push all the way out deeper and deeper into the state of Oregon, to where it's gotten so far. My hometown's what, like 20, 30 miles west of Portland, and it has affected my hometown. It affects my family. They are living with this crap day in and day out. You've got homeless camps being caught on fire. You've got massive amounts of property crimes. You have assaults. You have murders. You have ODs. All sorts of stuff that's taking place, all as a result of what's taking place over inside of Portland, being this massive sanctuary city and basically ignoring every federal law. And so when you're over here complaining about Beaverton, understand, for those that are listening that don't know, when he's complaining about Beaverton, that is directly impacted and affected because of what's taking place in Portland. Is that a fair statement?
That is correct, Matt. And it took Washington County to step in and help me, the Washington County Sheriff's Office.
Wow. Mary, I'm going to go ahead and give you the last word before we shut this sucker out. Mary, go ahead and mute yourself, ma'am. All right. She's not. Go ahead, Conspire.
Before you go, I just want to know, is there anything that can be done on the federal level? Like, I've heard people talking about the Insurrection Act, where maybe the federal government can
Thank you
come
very
in and
much.
take
I have
control
one thing
over.
to talk about the young man and the immigrant robbing him. Being here less than, did I,
Yeah, you
can you hear
stepped on
me?
him. It's okay. Spaces are glitching. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. All right. With the young man and the immigrant robbing, I was almost robbed here in my apartment complex by an illegal alien, and it busted my knee on the staircase because I defended myself because I've been a little bit martial art trained, and he was caught off surprise because of the body stance. And but this is, I looked at him, and because he just stood eye to eye with me, and he said he was starving and wanting to rob me, and I had my dog beside me, and that's the reason why I guess he felt empathy because he could tell I was old, and but I tried to reason with him. But this is when I began to realize how messed up this city is. But I had called the Eugene Police Department, and they would not come out. They said I had to file something through the internet, through Cahoots or whatever they call that. It's over my head. But and then another altercation with asking a police officer here. Someone can threaten you, and they said that's freedom of speech. In Texas, you get a $200 ticket for threatening verbally, if you have it recorded.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the difference. I'm learning the rules of engagement here. So anyway, I just wanted to point that out. That's a little bit scary. I understand freedom of speech, but when you have people say that they're going to unalive the president, or imitate Charlie Kirk, I'm really horrified. This is treason. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Winston, did you have a closing thought on that one? And then I'll Conspire. I understood your statement or your question. I'll get to that. Go ahead, Winston.
Yeah, sure. So somebody brought up the whole Insurrection Act, what the feds can do, stuff like that. Okay. So openly, everybody out there who's, Antifa and all that, are there for the purpose of obstructing government operations. Okay.
Correct.
And so that right there is inherently insurrection. Regardless of how big of an insurrection it is, it's insurrection. Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, the Insurrection Act, 18 Code 2383, specifically has provision for removing from office any local government official that provides aid or comfort to anyone who is in insurrection or who is obstructing the federal government. So yeah, literally, the federal government can go in there and can remove those elected officials from office for the city of Portland that are refusing to enforce those laws. They have that power.
Yep. Thank you very much. Yeah, and I mean that's exactly kind of how I feel when we get into. There's a couple different routes that we can take, and the point is that We, the people, need to step up and start forcing the government to do what it's supposed to do, both state, local, and fed. Like, that's what we need to do. Like, you cannot just ignore laws. And it sets a dangerous, dangerous, dangerous precedent in the United States when we have that type of stuff happening. So thank you guys, everybody that's over on the panel today. I appreciate you guys all for jumping up. Thank you, everybody, for joining in on the space. Make sure, there's some key people that are up here that I talk to quite a bit, Ron, Winston, Joe, even though they might not have very large accounts, or you might look at them, you might not say they're not large. I'm telling you, those are good people for y'all to follow and to make sure that you are, keep it up on par, good people to ask advice to, so on and so forth. So you guys make sure that you do that. So I appreciate everybody that's on the panel, everybody that's local that ended up stepping up to speak, everybody that gave advice or gave personal testimony for the things they're going through. Sir, it's going over to court today. I'm sure you're still listening. What is it? Stealth Gaming. As you go over to court, we'll be praying for you, man. So good luck out there, everybody. And I'll catch you guys soon. Thank you. All right. So we're going to go ahead and close out that space. If you guys want to go back and listen to it, it's up over there on my X account, on my X profile. I want to thank every single one of you guys for coming in here and joining me on this live stream this morning to go over the corruption that is taking place over inside of the Portland Police Bureau. You guys, this is a serious issue, and everybody should be concerned about this. I don't care if you live in that state or not, because whether or not you live in that state, it doesn't matter. They're setting a precedent that's going to come to your hometown very, very soon. And just like the people in Oregon, just like my hometown where I grew up, and we thought this wasn't a freaking problem, and we ignored what was taking place in Portland. It was just like, it's whatever. They're the weirdos that live all the way out in Portland. No. They are 100% going to affect you one day. What's taking place now spread from a city to all of the surrounding municipalities, and it's affected the entire state to the point where Eastern Oregon wants to break off completely and totally. They want nothing to do with the state anymore. They're trying to break away. They don't want to be a part of the state of Oregon. And just how it spread all across the state, believe you me, this crap is a cancer, and it's going to spread, and it's going to come to a state near you, ladies and gentlemen. In the meantime, peace, love, happiness, God bless. I'm out.
So we'll look forward to it.
Said they witnessed it and he went to jail. That's all I was going on.
Okay.
Feel free to sue me. Do a digital.
Okay,
thing
so
on my page.
people said it is one thing, right? How many times do people say things that aren't true?
He went to jail and people.
He did go to
accused
jail
him
for
of
punching a
doing
man the other night. Yeah, maybe back up because you're just spitting things on my arm now with whatever's in your
I
face.
didn't spit on your
No, your nastiness, whatever came out, hit my arm.
Yeah, whatever. Go have somebody
Go do
change
what?
your tampon.
My tampon, huh? Oh, there you go. So there he goes to go buy his tampons. And maybe he's just upset. He's balding more than I am. I don't know. Got a little close talking, and some fairy dust flew off his lips and landed on my arm. I have no idea what it was. Welcome to the new America, ladies and gentlemen.
I said something, but she said something.
This is what happens. This is what happens. God forbid we talk.
I was just part of it.
I was just
You're
here.
the problem with America. You guys are the problem with
I
this
didn't
country.
say a word to you until you looked at me and
Bullshit,
said
bro.
they.
Bull fucking shit, bro.
This is it.
This is what?
I mean, this is America now.
Yes, sir.
This is what happened. When I was
This is
actually
what happens when
busy
you kill
overseas
the best
fighting,
of us.
4 years in combat, training day in, day out. This is what you guys did with the country while we were busy.
This is what happens
Appreciate
when
it.
you kill Charlie Kirk, you get us.
Appreciate it. You guys really held it down.
You weren't here. Too bad you weren't here to save us.
You guys are
I was, actually. You're welcome.
absolutely the minority.
Yep, you can go. I mean, do whatever you like in life. I'm sorry your hair fell out.
Oh man, what a snowflake.
Mm-hmm. That's how snowflakes are defined. What's the definition of a snowflake?
You really should go
Tell
change your tampon.
the world, sir. Go ahead. Tell us. What's a snowflake? Tell us. What is a snowflake? Give us the definition of a
Something that
snowflake.
melts easily. Is that your definition?
Because I've been melting easily. No, I don't use it. You use it, so I'm curious what your definition is. Does my Special Forces tattoo make me a snowflake? Is that what it is?
I didn't even know that's what that was.
That's what that is, yeah. You see the beret, how it's green on the knife, and the SF DUI?
Yeah,
Distinctive unit insignia?
I see how you can
Yeah,
get that
so
anywhere.
that's what it is.
See how I could get that anywhere?
No, oh, really? Well, I'm very well documented, so you're welcome to. Again, I'm a public figure, and I'm on TV. I speak all the time. I was just on the news a little bit ago.
Are you a
well
war hero?
documented.
Did you
I
win
don't
the
consider
war
myself a
force?
war hero. No, I don't consider myself a war hero.
War, but you want to brag about.
I don't consider myself a war hero. Well, I'm just curious if that makes me a snowflake. Is that why you said it?
No,
Does it remind you?
No,
That's the Elmavai, actually. That's a Nordic rune. But yeah, go ahead. Keep going.
Oh well, you thought that maybe some spittle from my mouth landed on your arm.
I don't
And
think
you
I
were
know.
very,
I know
very
it. I know
offended.
it
You were
did.
very,
But
very offended by
no,
that.
I know it did, which is why I asked you to step back, because if you're standing so close that the fairy dust coming out of your mouth lands on my arm, maybe you ought to step back because your fairy dust is coming out of your mouth and landing on my arm.
So you're threatening that.
It's
I should
called
step
personal
back.
space. Like most people, like arm's distance,
Like,
personal
hey,
space.
you just.
Yeah, because
you
I
just-
stuck my arm out and you're still standing there. Personal space. So now I'll back up a little bit, and again, ask you to respect my personal space. Now you're outside my arm's distance.
You got up so you could
I
touch
appreciate
me.
it.
I'll touch you right
So
back.
arm's distance. Well, you
Special
poked me. I don't even